deal.
All right. Hey, good afternoon and good evening. And if you're watching from the Pacific Rim, then it's a wonderful Wednesday morning to you. So I am Bruce, aka the guy in the blue shirt, and I am also a proud brand ambassador for Rever. And Rever is a SaaS-based software that empowers your frontline team. So you can either message me if you want to learn more about that, or you can go to reverscore.com. And I am so honored to introduce Mr. Brad Stevens, a long-time collaborator, business guru in my mind. So Brad, tell us a little bit about where you're from and what it's like over there in Dallas right now.
So I am from Dallas, and thank you for having me tonight. Appreciate it greatly. And just a quick snapshot: I've been in and around the staffing industry for over 30 years, and been in business ownership for over 25 years. So hopefully, I can be of help to your audience here and share some different points of wisdom and learnings.
Yeah. Well, actually, you kind of underplay yourself based on what I know. You're actually a multiple business owner with a lot of different footprints, and I guess the first footprint of note is I met you in the good old-fashioned days of face-to-face networking, right?
Absolutely, 15 or 20 years ago. I forget how long it's been, but it's been a while back.
I know.
When you were here in Dallas. Yeah.
I was based in Dallas, and I always remember, I think it was at Lakeside Biz on the Hilton or the Hilton Hotel in Rockwell, right? And
yeah, it was.
Yeah. And I walked into this room, and there's this very astute gentleman standing there looking, and I thought, I wonder who that dude is. And anyway, the places we have been since that time, right?
Oh my gosh, isn't that the truth?
Yeah. That's the truth. All right. Well, hi, Gracie. Hi, Bernard. Hey, Kenneth Dunner, my friend over on the East Coast. Thanks for being a loyal supporter, Bernard. So some good, loyal people coming on. So we want to talk a little bit about kind of rebranding and repositioning, particularly based upon the things that you've seen as a multiple business owner and in a pretty rapidly changing marketplace in the Dallas-Fort Worth location, Brad. So talk a little bit about maybe the top couple of things that you've seen that has led to you leading the repositioning and level C solutions.
Well, I'd be happy to. So the biggest change I've seen over the last year with the COVID-19 pandemic is everything has, in a big way, gone virtual.
Mm-hmm.
Virtual workforce, virtual everything. And for some of us older guys like that, I've had to lean on you to help me learn some of the technologies and different ways to work with some of those, whether it's LinkedIn or this video approach for LinkedIn Live, or even the basics of how to do Zoom calls.
Right. Yeah.
So you just adjust and learn, and that's how it works. Now, the most interesting thing, which has been continuous as we work with senior management and business owners and those with P&L responsibility, is the management has not quite adapted to how to manage a virtual workforce. So one of the bigger changes is the command and control approach that was around forever, where you could walk around the office and talk to people and see what they're doing. Well, that's gone.
Yep.
And companies in a large way are still actually trying to figure out strategically where they're going to take their business over the next couple of years. Because most of them, once their original plan back in beginning of last year went out the window, they still haven't figured out a strategy. And that's probably 90% of all the businesses out there, contrary to what the leadership may say. They're still working on figuring out a plan.
Right. Okay. Well, hi, Ellen, Wendy, and a young lady called Kim Benson. I think we know that young lady a little bit, right? So welcome aboard. Yeah, so I know we've had a lot of debate offline before about not only learning and prospering and growing, but the real key is the adopt and adaption, right? So talk to us a little bit about. I know you're excited about a new division that you've launched in terms of meeting that demand for adopting and adapting. So why don't you touch on that a little bit, Brad?
Well, thank you. In fact, that you mentioned Kim Benson, she heads up a division within Level C called the Prevent Sidekicks Group. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so think of it more like fractional assistance, whether it's administrative assistance, assistance on managing a situation like this where you've got video calls for a management team or for a audience where you're putting on a demo. Okay. To manage just getting people in and out of Zoom, logging them in, keeping track, and let the individual that's running the meeting focus on the meeting or on the interview, that whatever they're doing. That's one of the services we offer, and that is designed to help the individual consultants, the small teams of 2 or 3 people. Could be CRM installation and support, could be CRM expansion, could be newsletter support, could be all kind of things. It starts opening up Pandora's box because every individual entrepreneur has a different mission. So part of what we do in that group is provide them anywhere from 10 to 15 hours a week of support time to 20 hours a month to whatever they need that complements them and lets them really work on growing their business versus being stuck in the middle of it.
Right. So it's helping out with some of the mechanics and maybe getting them more up to speed with the technology, which is, as we know, you and I know, is pretty daunting, right?
Oh, it can be very daunting.
Especially when you're an analog in mindset and you have to become a digital, right, Brad?
Exactly.
And,
yes.
Yes. And you and I have had many a funny moment offline trying to figure all that out. So anyway, wow, Maria, Gabriel, Bernard again, Kenneth, Connie, and I think I saw somebody else that you know real well. Back here, yes, Jane Ryan. Well,
Oh, yeah. How about that?
you got all the posse following you around.
Oh, look at that. I think they're following you. Well, and I want to thank you because your little phrase of simpler, faster, better, as you and I have talked about many times, has helped us streamline a lot of our processes. So anybody that's fumbling along, let me call it, I would highly recommend they reach out and visit with you because you'll help them figure out ways to get there faster.
Sure. Well, is it fumbling or is it bumbling along? I think.
Well, I was going to say fumbling. I'd rather not say bumbling. I like to at least say.
All right. Hey, Gabriella. Actually, Gabriella Brown is a relatively new connection. So we've been talking about simpler, faster, better as well. So glad to help her as and when I can. And she's been helping me. Maria Roos, she's been a super helpful collaborator. She actually helped proctor LinkedIn Live for me before. So that was awesome.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I know under Kim's group, you have a lady called Julie Martin, right? And so I think Julie and Kim conjured up a nice little surprise for you as a little recognition because Level C Solutions, for those of you that don't know, as soon as you go to Brad's website, there are dolphins all over it. So why don't you tell the dolphin story, Brad? Because I love this story about repositioning yourself.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Back when we started the business eons ago, I wanted an animal that was representative of what we do. So the lady who designed the logo, there's actually 2 dolphins in the logo. So one is the blue and the other is the white that ride side by side with it. And in that, the thought was, we know dolphins are smart. I'd like people to think at least I'm smart. Okay. They're creative. They're also very much protective in their nature against shark attacks. And Julie and Kim put together a nice little video that's actually on the website. So with that, we work on the people side of the business. And in that, it's always changing day to day, many times. but you also have to watch out and make sure that you protect your business accordingly. Whether that's hiring people and getting the right team together, or going through downsizing or terminations, those can always be delicate. So you want to make sure you treat those right and treat the individuals right.
Right.
So there's all kind of ways, but we tend to get, I want to call it out of the box thinking in terms of solutions, because we work with and represent multiple recruiting firms, search firms, HR consultants, and all different ways to help clients with their people needs. So we're not, so we work from the client side of the table and then figure out the right solutions. But in that process, we ride side by side with the client, the business owner, and make sure that they get treated right themselves.
Yeah, well, talking and writing side by side, Jeanette has an amazing ability to jump into the conversation. Exactly at the right time. Hi, Jeanette. So Jeanette is up in Northern California, and she actually has been helping a lot of people with their career repositioning and career search, and she's just an amazing young lady. And of course, our Connie Medina, who we know, she's talking about Julie Martin here. So let me just pop. Oops, it went.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
In fact, they've been helping Connie get her Zoho platform up and running the way she wants, as well as with her newsletters.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Yeah, actually, thank you, Connie. She invited me to be in one of her first newsletter launches. So I really appreciate that. And
oh, good.
And it talks to the whole theme around, what you described, Brad, which is, when you collaborate with the right people, you end up, people helping other people, right? And that's so important in today's world, where we've got to adopt and adapt and, spin on a dime very often because of the changing environment out there.
Oh, yeah. Well, and some of the other changes I've seen over the last year is there's more and more fractional management being pulled into play, more and more subject matter experts being pulled into play on specific opportunities or situations. The direct hire and search side of the picture is starting to pick up, at least here in the DFW markets. Probably much differently than in California, where you're still in shutdown.
Correct.
That's a different challenge.
A different challenge for sure.
But yeah, and a lot of times clients will think they need to hire somebody. And once we really drill through and figure out strategically where they're trying to take their business, what we find is they may just need some help on an interim basis, or they may need an application developed, so they don't need to hire a whole application development team. Right. They just need to find a group that can actually write the code and get them what they want and treat it like a project. So.
Right. So you're talking about the multiple facets of the Level C Solutions group of companies. So if somebody, Gracie Strong, what would be the best website for people to go look at, Brad, to get a real good feel for the width and depth of your people helping people in many, many solutions?
Well, it's levelcsolutions.com. Just take the dash out.
Right.
And then, so hopefully we kept it simple. www.levelcsolutions.com.
Okay. So yeah, if you're saying Brad's name on here after his name, Brad Stevens, it's level without the dash C solutions.com. Yeah, go take a look. Again, I love the dolphin video and the story behind the dolphin, because it's really talking to your story, Brad. At the end of the day, you're the heartbeat of Level C Solutions, and way back when I first met you, you've always been the heartbeat of Level C Solutions. So it's amazing that your team came up with the dolphin narrated video, because it's core and foundational to what you're all about. So.
Well, and I want to, Kim and Julie get all the credit for that. My daughter actually wrote the story for me, Sydney. And then Kim's dad is the one that did the voiceover. He used to read to Lighthouse for the Blind here in Dallas years and years ago.
Right.
So thank you both.
it's funny because when I was out and about, hoofing around actually on face-to-face networking, I used to work with the Center for Nonprofit Management on some assignments, and I remember going to that not-for-profit and seeing all their recording studios. I was blown away by how much stuff they had there, and
Oh, it's amazing.
yeah,
Really.
and incredible work that they were doing for, guided reading and lessons and helping people with limited vision or no vision actually, function, in a more of a normal manner than they could otherwise. So yeah, amazing operation. Oh my goodness, Mr. Paul Marsh has just hopped on. Your ears have been burning, Paul, because before we went live, I was just giving Brad the update on my website update that you finished off last night for me. So thank you for doing that, Paul. Much appreciated. And
he does nice work based on what I've seen of your place. Yeah.
Yeah, he
So
does.
my compliments to Paul.
Yeah. And it's a great story about, people helping people. So, back 15, 16 months ago, I met Paul in person because he lives in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I have a different business interest there. So we got to take LinkedIn offline, exactly the same way as I did initially with Connie. We've remained, trusted collaborators, and I love it. I love it. I love the fact that you can build from that small coffee meeting and take things forward and work with people. Again, it's about people helping people, right? If you find the right people to help the right people, they become strategic collaborators, and that's so important.
Especially in today's environment.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of scams out there where people don't want to help people. That's for sure.
Yeah, be careful of those.
Oh yeah. Been caught a few times myself, and I'm not the dullest knife in the drawer, but some of them are pretty sophisticated. So yeah.
Well, and that's one of the things that you and I have talked about many times is because I've lived through several major cycles like this, the 9/11s and that. And so fortunately we've survived the roller coasters, but part of my drive is to help the business owners avoid the problems that I've encountered because they can be very costly.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So if we can help some of them avoid that, then that's better for everybody.
You bet. Well, and the other thing is it's costly both financially and emotionally as well. So yeah,
absolutely, in a big way.
Yeah, and it makes you feel so dumb when you get caught because you think, well, I'm smarter than that, but some of these schemes are so intricate and so well designed, and it just saddens me because if people put that creativity into designing really good new processes instead of trying to rip people off, it will be awesome.
It would be very awesome.
Yeah, we would be a lot further along as a nation if if they channel that energy into doing positive things and not negative things. All right. Anyway, hi, Shanna. So Shanna was a guest the other week. We had a blast. So we got into some stuff that was fun as well. So thanks for hopping on here. And again, if you don't know Brad Stevens, he's a little swamped sometimes, but reach out to him to connect on LinkedIn. You will be surprised at how worldly he is and how many different things he's been in before and worked his way out of. So he's... Was that the right way of putting it, Brad?
You hit the magic word, worked your way out.
Worked your way out, that's right. I've seen you with your magic wand working your way out of some tight situations before. So
it just takes a little time and a little work.
Right. So the other thing we were talking about that was a revelation for you is as you were stepping back and listening to this feedback from all of the business owners that you talk to in multiple markets out there in the DFW, I know you got captured by and intrigued by the brand story thought process on how to rebrand not only yourself, but the way that you put your website together. So you want to talk just a little bit about that? Because I know there are some brand story fans on here that I've spoken to
Okay.
before. So yeah, talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, that was actually a new dimension for me to learn here over the last couple of months. And Kim Benson that you mentioned is the one that led me into that. She's got fairly well trained in that particular art, but it kind of tells along the line of how movies are made and books are written. Is there's always a hero in the story that's
Right.
always trying to overcome challenges or huge problems. And so our heroes at level C are the business owners and those people with P&L responsibility, because they're the ones day in day out that have it all on the line.
Yep.
And it's not as easy as everybody thinks. It's that old saying that's lonely at the top is a true statement.
Well, it's a lot of risk as well. People don't understand
Oh,
the
there's
risk sometimes. So
well, and along that line, they're actually the general world now is starting to get to see real risk when they look at all the restaurant closings and things like that, and people losing their entire savings, their entire life is up in smoke. So
yeah.
different than years ago, it's now visible to everybody with the way the pandemic has hit and the impact it's had on everybody. So, but yes, but the story branding, it really changed how we looked at ourselves and our clients. That's when we figured out, okay, the clients are the heroes because they're the ones actually trying to help make their business work. We may be the guide, okay, that helps jump in to help guide them along the way on who to hire, how to fire, how to downsize, upsize, and how to meet in a flexible staffing model mode. So that's a different approach than, so it's not about us, it's all about the client. And that's how the website is approached. So,
yeah.
yep.
Well, it's interesting because also if you think back when we started to re-collaborate, it was about, okay, well, what can we do here? And you kindly gave me a shout out about my methodology, simpler, faster, better. And again, not always easily understood, even though it's simple words, but
the simpler doesn't always mean it's well understood.
Correct. Well, and simpler and faster doesn't always make it better sometimes as well. So, you got to be willing to, as I say, the 3 pillars for me always on LinkedIn is if you can stay in the groove of learn and prosper, not only by money, but prospering by knowledge. And then you put that to growing. So the learn, prosper, grow is always my 3 kind of beacons, as it were. And I know people that know me probably get tired of me saying that. So, my method is simpler, faster, better. And I always try and apply my knowledge in the can I help who I'm working with learn, prosper, and grow. And if I can't, then gosh darn it, I shouldn't be working with them. So,
well,
shame on me, right?
No, but they've got to want to learn and they've got to want to develop and grow.
Right. So, interesting enough, that dovetails into another piece of the adaption. We were kind of joking last week offline about, no change equals no change, right?
Yes, it does.
Or in Dallas lingo, same old equals same old, right? So why don't you talk a little bit about some of the aha moments that you've had, Brad, in the last year as a multiple business owner that might kind of help others just to sit back and think about, what is it they really need to adapt and adopt to, right?
Well, in my opinion, especially as everything has changed over the last year from the pandemic and the work environment's changed, the world's changed, the demands changed, new things are coming out constantly technologically.
Right.
And I would encourage everybody to evaluate where you currently sit in terms of your technical expertise.
Yep.
And as you know well, I did not have a lot of technical expertise over the years, which most of the people that you've mentioned on this call know as well. Well, I'm the least technical guy in the space here, but I've learned I can actually now hold a Zoom call and be the host. So that's a new thing for me over the last several months.
Right.
I've learned how to communicate much more effectively on LinkedIn, much less do my profile more conducive to what goes on in that world that's apparently constantly changing the way they write the code.
Yep.
Um, and then learn new applications, even to the point of which I'm stumbling through now is I just got a updated lease on a car and it's got Apple Play that you plug your phone in instead of a normal map. Okay. So
Right.
so all of a sudden I'm having to adjust that. So technology is rapidly changing and
Right.
I don't see that slowing down in the next 30 years. That's just going to be the nature of the beast.
Sure.
But on the flip side, I would suggest don't lose the personal touch.
Right.
And so I'm going to call it for the younger generations, it's okay to set your phone down for a while and actually talk to somebody and not worry about Googling.
Right. Yeah.
Because you still need to be able to communicate more effectively. And it
Right.
can't all be texts. Okay.
Sure.
So I would ask everybody to kind of look at it from both sides.
Right.
One, for the younger generations to be patient with us if we're looking at them with glazed eyes, like I don't understand what you're doing. Okay.
Right.
But help us along with that journey. Because the other thing that I'm going to suggest to you is different than 20 years ago. The groups that are getting over 50 plus, okay, an age group, we're still going to be working another 20 years. A lot
Right.
of us can't retire.
Yep.
It just doesn't work that way. So,
Right.
so we're going to need to adjust as well. And that may be what you're alluding to is help us adjust both ways.
Right.
And then we'll be delighted to mentor or coach the younger generations on things that they're encountering and problems that we've already overcome that they don't actually know they're in the middle of because they just don't know.
Right.
And that's okay.
Sure, it is okay, and it's funny because I think a couple of maybe work segments behind us, as it were. I don't mean in a negative way behind us, but yeah, they probably haven't realized that they're not going to get shot of us anytime soon now because most of us have to keep working, and or we want to keep working because. Like me, I love to mentor people that are high potential leaders, and they're not always, but they typically are a little younger than me. And I've been there, done that in 4 different countries and 27 different industries. So I've been around the block a few times and fallen over many, many times, and I still have the scars to prove it. So,
Well, we're not even going there. Yeah.
We're not. That's true. We shouldn't go there because you've seen me in some of those moments before. So we should not.
That's a whole different show. Yeah.
Whole different show, right? But I think the key thing from this conversation, and you and I have played around with this word, is that what we realize is that virtuology, so it's being virtual and using technology without losing the personal touch. So to me, that's what virtuology means. And I know it's a word that I conjured up that we've not done anything with yet, but I see virtuology becoming, it's almost like science and art. So it's a co-blending of the interpersonal people skills and the technology and using the very best of those 2 elements to really drive towards a simpler, faster, better lifestyle. I mean, I'm constantly looking at my own processes and saying, duh, Bruce, that was not simpler or faster, and it definitely wasn't better, right?
Well, the other thing that I think is jumping off the page over the last year is, and it may be because everything is moved into a virtual mode, is it seems like professionals are much more in need and open to bringing either an executive coach or something of your
Right.
coaching nature into their work life
Mm-hmm.
to help them improve or be more effective in work. And it's not as threatening because you can do it one-on-one virtually, and it's still confidential
Yeah.
between the two of you. So you're not walking somebody into an office and they go, "Who is that?" That's his coach.
Yeah, is that the new owner? Oh,
Yeah.
and all those rumors that spin around from somebody brand new showing up one day,
Oh
right?
my gosh. Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah. No,
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. I have a global reach now. I mean, if I look at the guests on this, making comments, and every time I do a live, I am astounded by the reach that my message from my live goes to. It goes to multiple countries, and you never know who you're going to meet. In fact, this last weekend, I was talking to a professor in a small country called Georgia, because I thought she was from the state of Georgia, right? And I'd forgotten that there is a Middle European country called Georgia, between Russia and another Slavic nation, which I can't remember the name of. I should have, but yeah. So it's amazing. So my assumption was I was talking to her from Georgia on Eastern Standard Time, but she was actually 12 hours in front of me in Georgia, Middle Europe. So great example where it's you
Well,
know.
yeah. And you mentioned Jane Ryan.
Mhm.
She
Yeah,
does executive coaching. Connie, that you mentioned, does small business owner coaching,
yeah,
whereas you do communication coaching between different generations. So that's where, in our world from Level C, as we work with the owners in RSP&L, we listen to their problems, and
right.
then we would reach out based on what their issues are
Hmm.
to one of y'all or somebody like y'all that can fit that bill. Okay.
Right.
And
Yes.
in a very short time, help them overcome those challenges.
Sure. All right. Hey, Joan. Oh, Joan Landry. My goodness. Hi, Joan. So, Joan, I met a long, long time ago. I think you know her too. And bless her heart, when I was selling my stuff in my junker home in Gainesville, Joan went and purchased some furniture from me. So she helped me out big time. I was there for one weekend and I had to get rid of everything. So thank you. Great to see you, Joan. So again, you never know from those personal relationships who people are going to show up virtually, and through that virtualness and the use of technology, it's amazing. So anyway, passing thoughts, Brad. What do you see 2021 looking like based on being a multiple business owner under the Level C Solutions umbrella?
2021 looks much better than 2020.
Oh, you bet.
Yeah. Oh,
No
yeah.
doubt about that.
Years off to a good start. Businesses are coming back alive. They're actually, even though they may not have a specific plan yet,
Mm-hmm.
they're actively getting back to work, getting the people back to work, building. There's a ton of different mergers and acquisitions taking place.
Mm-hmm.
And we also know there's going to be a ton of bankruptcies taking place, which causes
Right.
a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But people that have been unemployed for a period of time are ready to get back to work for the
Right.
most part.
Sure.
But they're going to have to be able to be self-driven, self-directed in a large way, different than in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you go virtual, you got to be able to keep motivated when nobody's looking.
Yeah.
And on the flip side, the management, which is a different training course that I think we should develop, somebody should develop, is how to manage a remote workforce and how to manage managers who manage a remote workforce, because
Right.
that's an unknown skill at this point, based on the feedback we've got.
Right. Well, it's different, and that's kind of why I'm still playing with virtuology, because I think virtuology lends itself to, how do you use technology? How do you use virtual space? But how do you still bring good people helping people, leadership skills, so that you engender trust and you engender engagement and you engender, like you said, self-discipline, but allow it to be more self-directing instead of, me saying, hey, Brad, you need to do this and this by noon, set more liberal goals and say maybe to the team, hey, by the end of the week, we need to be here, here, and here, and then let them go after it, in their own way, their own style. And as long as they're ethical and they don't do anything too super crazy, then that should be the way forward, right?
Well, it is the way forward.
Yeah.
Everybody just has to adapt. Yeah.
It's the adopt and adapt. All right. So in closing, there we go. The big A words, they're usually used for other terms, but the big A.
Admirable. That's what you were thinking.
Admirable. Yeah. Admirably adopting and adapting and making sure that you really engage and engender all of the resources that you have around you, and be willing to be flexible, right? Because somebody may not be feeling that comfortable, but you might be able to plug them into a different type of role and they will flourish. So,
oh, absolutely. In fact, that's a lot of times that's what we help clients figure out.
right,
Before you terminate somebody, is there someplace else they can be effective and part of the team with you?
right,
Especially if they've already been working with you.
yeah. It becomes expensive to do the big T word, whereas the other T word, which is maybe there's a transitional activity, that can be a way more adaptive and adoptable to.
Way more cost effective. Yeah, in fact, I've got a good friend that Max Toy, who shared with me long ago. He was up at the upper ends of the echelons, leadership wise. So one day said, it's all he knows is it's expensive to hire people. It's more expensive to hire the wrong people, and it's incredibly expensive to start over.
Absolutely. All right. Could you say that a little bit slower? Because for people that are watching this on a replay that might be in leadership, those are some unbelievably valuable nuggets. So just do those three things again, Brad, and then we'll say good night for tonight.
You bet. So it's expensive to hire people. It's more expensive to hire the wrong people. And it's incredibly expensive to start over.
Yep. All right. So words of a master multiple business owner. Thank you, Brad Stevens, Level C Solutions. And again, go check out Brad's new website. Definitely check out the dolphin story, because it's a wonderful underpinning of Brad's values and all of the staff that are at Level C Solutions.
Thank you. Thank you for having me tonight. I appreciate it.
Man. Yeah, just hang on and I'll just, so thank you, everyone. I'll come back and answer your comments, or if there's questions. If you're seeing this as a replay, you can add your comments and questions, and Brad and I will go look. And again, thank you, Rever. I'm a proud brand ambassador to them. So good night, everybody, and good morning, Pacific Rim.
Thank you.
Bye.